Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started today. The purpose of this training is just to familiarize you with eTiger or refamiliarize you for some of you that have gone through it before. And the idea is just to take everyone from the very beginning through the very end, and probably initially here for the first maybe 15 or 20 minutes, just have Terrie go through all aspects of it. And as you're going through, if there's something that she's saying that strikes you and you need to ask a question to be able to move forward, let's go ahead and ask that. But if it's something or a question that could be held to the end, let's hold our questions to the end. We are filming it here today so that we can put it on our website and have people go back through and view it on their own when they get to a spot where they need to revisit it, because we know that eTiger can be confusing, and especially when we only use it a couple of times a year. But Terrie knows it inside and out, and so she's excited to share her knowledge and to kind of take you from beginning to end. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Terrie.
Thank you. Everybody knows by now anyway that I'm Terrie, and I work here at the CTE department with Dave Allen as our executive director, and of course Rebecca Collins, the career counselor. Anytime anybody has any questions about anything, please give one of us a call. We're always willing to help, and we're always willing to find out the answer if we don't already know it, okay? So today we're going to learn about eTiger. And eTiger is our data reporting system for CTE, and it is called Timely Information Gathering, Examination, and Reporting, Tiger. And they threw the E in front of it for electronic. So it's very important that we're accurate and as complete as possible in all of our reporting, because this has to do with our funding as well as our ability to move forward with new classes, better classes as we go along. So when y'all came in, I gave you your login and password, and everybody has seen our link right here to log in. If you haven't already, it's https://doe1.ten.gov/authorize, authorize/login, login.aspx. I would suggest you bookmark that if you haven't already. So, and you'll come to this screen here. And once you come here, you'll put in your username and your password that I gave you. Now, if you want to change your password, this is the place to do it. You will put in your the password that I gave you, and then you'll put in new password and then verify your password. You can change it to something that's more memorable for you to remember. And if you do that, share that with me, because I keep a master list of everybody's passwords for the off occasion that you might have forgotten what it was that you named it. Everybody has a zillion passwords, and it's easy enough to forget them. So right now, I am going to log in. Your screen is going to look slightly different than mine, and I apologize, but that's the way they've done it. But I will have a lot of the same things that you do. So all of you will have a sidebar here to the left that gives you several different options. You will have school course listing. You'll have school course listing non-CTE. You'll also have view, what was it called? View CTE courses. Right now we're going to click on View CTE courses. If I can find mine on my list. Here it is. Now here on the far left column is the course code. If y'all know what your course code is, or the name of your course, we can find it. We can scroll on down. As you go down, you'll see some that you are able to click on and some that you won't be able to. Here's one that, let's see, I'm going to try 5927 is one that I had picked out earlier. I'm going to go on down here, which is Architectural Engineering Design 3. That is one of the classes that we teach here. And if you click on it, This shows you the standards and competencies for that class. This class happens to have 23 competencies. This is what you're going to be grading your students on in eTiger for these competencies. A lot of teachers will print this up and run it through a poster printer to enlarge it and hang it on the wall. Other teachers will print it and give it to the students that they'll have right there with them, so they always know exactly what's expected of them. And one thing while I'm here, when you're in eTiger, you're going to always want to use the back button. Using the browser back button is not always a good idea. Sometimes it will start acting a little wonky with that. So we're going to click back here. And once we're back on this page here, you're going to go to the top and click on School Course Listing. Now, your screen should go right to your courses. I have to select a school. I'm going to select, Franklin High School for Stanley right here. Now, this is going to show every single teacher at Franklin High School. But for our purposes, I'm going to try and find Stanley right down here. These are his classes down here. This is going to show our local course code number. That's the one that's given to it by Williamson County. The next column is the state course code number. The next column is the name of the class on mine, and I think yours might be a little bit different. It may have the course code, the teacher name differently. I'm not sure. If you click on your name, this is going to give the teacher's demographics. There. So we'll back up again. Now we're going to click on the course code number. So this then tells us that Mr. Russell, his license number, his demographics, the school, and district of record. Then, of course, the school year. The local class number, the course number, and the name. The beginning period being August 7th to December 18th. The way Williamson County has decided to do their classes is by semester. Even though it is a full year class, it is all recorded as per semester. Then it'll be the class period that he has these students, the second period, and the non-traditional gender, which is real important with eTiger too. They like to track when they have non-traditional students in a class. Automotive would be traditionally a male course, so if you have any girls in the class, that's considered non-traditional. And he doesn't have any girls in this particular class. When you're viewing your students, you want to make sure it says current students. And if it doesn't, make sure you click on current students and generate your list. That'll refresh it and repopulate it. So I'm going to pause here for a second. Do you have any questions about what I've said so far? So far, so good?
So let me just ask one thing, Terry.
Sure.
At the beginning of the school, at this point in time, we're about at the end of the first quarter. So at the end of the first quarter, they will have not put anything in terms of competencies or any of those things. So what should they see? What should they be looking to verify a fourth of the way through the school year?
They should be making sure that all the students in this class are the correct students, that their grade is correct. The P stands for, and I looked that up specifically, but a primary enrollment. Concentrators, you're not going to see yes in concentrator for anybody. For your certificates, you still not. Competencies, 0. Competencies attained, 0. Now, some teachers, seasoned teachers that have already been through this a few times, they will have numbers in this area. Your competencies, such as the ones we saw with architecture, had 23. You would think that during the first semester of the school year, you would go through approximately 11 to 12 competencies. So that means the first 9 weeks, you might have gone through, 5 or 6 competencies. So if you wanted to keep keeping up with it, which would be a good idea, you might see a 5 in here, where you have already gone through 5 competencies that they have that you've assessed. And it could be that they have attained all 5 competencies. So then during the second quarter, then you would assess the next 5 or 6 competencies as you go along. Does that make sense?
So it's perfectly fine if you wanted to stay that current and stay that up to date. But what we're asking teachers is, after we verify that the students are in the class, and we do that early on so that we know that we have everyone there, at the midway point of the year, so by the end of the first semester, by the time that the teachers leave for their holiday break, that we would have approximately half of the competencies assessed. So if you go back to what Terrie said earlier, in where you would find your competencies, right, and you've already
Correct.
shared where they would find their competencies. So you would know you have X number of competencies to assess for the entire year. You would go in midway point through the year and put down competencies assessed, and it's going to be about half of those, or it should be about half, and then competencies attained and what that percentage is. So that would be something that you would be looking to do by the midway point of the year.
Okay. So now we're going to go into, there's several ways to report these competencies. I'm going to show you 2 of the easiest ways. You click on Report Class, and here you'll find a page that's got, I believe, about 18 columns here. This is for the number of periods that you had them in the class and the number of credits earned. This is not the one I wanted. Let me back up here. I want to actually start Rubric Template. Maybe, no, that's not it either. Darn. Okay. You will go into what it is the competency, the course standards at the top. So if you are going to, if you already covered all of course standard 1, you'll click on number 1. This is what I wanted. And here, you'll have all the students listed with their study ID. And here is where you will be putting in what they have attained. And the state, we report to the state by a 1, 2, 3, or 4. For the 3 and 4 is proficient and advanced. 1 and 2 is basic and below basic. And I printed up several copies of these for you in the back. This is the rubric that the state has us go by. This is how we grade the students in eTiger with a 1, from a 1 to a 4. Ideally, the state wants everybody, all the students, to have attained a 3 or a 4. In a perfect world, that would be great. Of course, I've all had students where they just don't obtain that. And that's okay too, just as long as you have been able to document the resources and the extra services and help that you've tried to give them to get them to proficient. When we're recording these, a proficient and advanced will count towards keeping their percentage attained at 100. A 1 or 2 will slowly start bringing that percentage down. So we want to keep in mind and work with this rubric whenever we're putting these in. One thing that you need to remember always, and I might have already said this, is to save your documents, save your work often. In the past, and it hasn't been this way recently, we've lost a lot of the stuff that has been keyed in. We don't want to do that. So Stanley, I'm going to put a few numbers in here just as an example, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to give this a couple of students some grades here. Okay, and then once you click Save, it turns pink. And in this case, pink is for pending. This means it's pending being uploaded to the state. That's good. If you go back into it tomorrow and it's blank, that's okay too the first day. If it's still blank the second day, then possibly the data's been lost. But if it's pink, it's pending. If it disappears, that means it's being uploaded at the state and it should reappear the next day. I'm going to take these out now.
Okay, so as she's backing that out, does that make sense? So this is the reason why in the past we've been waiting to the end of the year and trying to put all these in at once. It's crucial that you get midway through the year and that you look at the standard, each of the standards, click on each of the standards, or in this case, standard number 1, and then the competencies under that standard 1 would be where you go in and you click in your 1, 2, 3, or 4 based on your rubric.
Okay? And then you click go back. Sometimes you have to click go back a couple of times, and it's still in there. So we're gonna, well,
That's okay, you just go on.
I have no idea how that happened. Okay, so now if we want to, we're at the end of the semester. Now we have to report whether or not the students failed, the credits that they got, and any reason why their competencies might have been adjusted. Going back to the original example, this first semester you were going to cover 10 competencies for a student, but you had a student that didn't come in until after the first 9 weeks. So really, you can't hold that student liable for the first 5 competencies that they weren't even there to participate in. So you can only evaluate them on the last 5 that you did. So in that case, you would tell them it was a late enrollment. That's why they were only assessed on 5. They only attained 4 or 5 in that case. And you can do that here in the report class. This is where we were before. You will, the comment, you can put in here, enrolled in October. The next competency adjustment, there's a drop-down list with several reasons why. And click on one of those. The number of periods is always going to be 1, because you have that student for 1 period every day. Even if it's a 2-hour class, it's still 1 period. Because of the way Williamson County does this, in here in eTiger, that class is going to be listed basically 4 times. First period, first semester, first period, second semester, second period, first semester, second period, second semester, even though it's the same class. So this number in number of periods is always going to be 1. The number in credits earned is going to have to be either 0.5 or a 0 because they didn't pass the class. You don't worry about the EIS credits earned. That is uploaded through EIS. Dual credit, you'll know if you're dual credit or not. And dual enrollment, the same thing. If they are dual enrolled, there is a drop-down list for you to select the school that you're dual enrolled with.
So mistake number 1 that we see often is a student comes in late to the year, like she described, or a student leaves early for the year. The teacher sometimes will put down still the max number of competencies. So if there were 34 for the total year, the teacher will put in 34 as the max and say that the student has only earned 24 of the 34. That's not accurate, because that student has not had an opportunity to earn those competencies. We only put in what the student was able to be assessed on. So if they were only able to be assessed on 24, then you give them competencies earned out of 24. So 24 out of 24. And then we provide the description. But because they have missed, say, the first quarter, that doesn't mean that we still put the max number in and then only put the number in that they assessed. We put the number in that was available for them to earn. Okay, that'll get kicked back in our system. Okay, and then we oftentimes, if the teachers don't make the comment has to be on there about the reasoning for that. I think that's another big issue.
I have had teachers that have done everything possible and their students just won't do the work. And that's been the comment in there, refuses to do the work. So that tells us that they have done everything possible. They have documented, they have done everything that they possibly can to get the student to do the work. These do not seem to be tough competencies, but if somebody doesn't want to do the work, then they're very tough. So that's where we try to give them every opportunity we can by not penalizing them for not being there for competencies if they started late, or if they left. There's cases where a student might have started the year and left, decided this is not for me, what have you. If they can, I don't even know if they can change classes after 9 weeks, but that's another reason they moved to another school. And we want to keep track of that even if they've moved to another school, because that information, this is statewide. So if they start out at Williamson County, but they move to Rutherford County, and they go into your same program in Rutherford County, the teacher in Rutherford County can then add to what you've already put in there, and that student hasn't lost anything. And they still get credit, can still be counted as a concentrator for the new school, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? Okay. So here again, make sure you click save, and when you go back. Okay. And once this information is in there, and I can't show it to you now because all the information is not put in, you will have a button that says attest. Once all the information is in there and you're happy with it for the semester and what have you, click attest. It'll go to a second screen that says full attest. I can't remember what the words were for the other one, but like a pending attest and then cancel attest. But you'll want to full attest it. And this will be the same place you go back to later on if you have to change something. That's when you'll cancel the attest and go back and change it. But since it's not available here, I cannot show you that. Now, there's one more way that a lot of teachers really do enjoy doing it. If you will, I believe it's print class table. No, it's the rubric template. There it is. If you'll click on that. This is a way for you to do your assessing of the students offline. Now the way to do this is you click on Rubric Template. You will click on Control A, which is like copy. Then you'll want to do Control C. You will then need to open, does this have Excel in it? An Excel workbook page. Should have looked at that already. Okay. Oh, it hasn't opened. Okay. It has not been set up in here. So then you will copy it. You'll put it into an Excel file. You'll paste it into Excel. And then you will then save it as what's called a CSV file. Okay? The instructions on it, it's really very simple. What's good about this is that you can take and you can put in, such as on this one, all of your assessments for the student. And you can upload it to the state. And if you go back in a week and it's still not there, you can upload it again without having to go through and put all that information again. One thing you do not want to do at any time is change the numbers up here. These first 3 rows at the top, don't touch them. Do not bother with them at all. Those have to stay there like that so that they are recognized when you do upload it to the state. Does that make sense? I'll send the detailed information since I don't have Excel on here to show you how it's done, exactly how to do that offline. But it does work very well and a lot of teachers really enjoy it. Again, you're going to only do this for 1 semester. Whatever semester this one was for, and I believe this was his first semester, because these local class numbers vary just slightly, maybe 1 digit for the second semester. Okay? And then when you're, I lost my, oh boy, I'm having a tough time today. So then you will upload it at the state. And since I can't show you the Excel file, it would be useless, but there is a link that says upload to the state. Okay, that's it.